Good morning. I'm Leon Henderson McLennan, and I'm your worship associate for today's service. I've said it before, and during these trying times, I'll say it again. Please make sure to put your spiritual oxygen mask on before placing one on those less able to put one on themselves. We've hit several pockets of significant domestic and global turbulence again, and those masks are descending for your use. Perhaps you're considering placing energy and resources, time and energy, into not only your own efforts, but in hopes of magnifying such efforts, those of, say, Black Lives Matter, the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, or the Los Angeles LGBT Center. Whenever your energies are required, but they're depleted, know that you have an important spiritual option, even during waking hours. Beyond pure rest, beyond meditation, there's play. Yes, play. But as a spiritual option? Really? You may say, especially with so much work to be done, playing seems a little, silly. Well, yes, it has its silly aspects. And by the way, did you know the very word silly in part derives from the old German Sale and the German Selig, one meaning of which is blessed. Silly play's contribution to the soul, to spirit, can be rich and a rejuvenating blessing. In Toward Holy Ground, Reverend Dr. Margaret Gunther wrote, "When we play, we also celebrate holy uselessness. Like the calf frolicking in the meadow, we need no pretense or excuses. Work is productive. Play, in its disinterestedness and self-forgetting, can be fruitful." Let's light the chalice together in a spirit of rejuvenating play. Reverend Don Garrett, pastor of Unitarian Universalist Church of the Lehigh Valley, says that play is the exuberant expression of our being. It points us to our true selves and is the fount of creativity and spirituality. Play keeps our search for meaning humble. May we continue to explore as spiritual practice, play.
So say, oh playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies three. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore.
Say, oh playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies three. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore. Playmate, oh playmate, 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 oh playmate, playmate.
Say, oh playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies three. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore.
Forevermore, forevermore,
Forevermore. and play with me, and bring your dollies 3. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore. Say, oh Playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies 3. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends, forevermore, forevermore.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for worship. On behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Santa Monica, I welcome you. I'm delighted to be joined by Reverend Dr. Kikanza Nuri-Robins preaching, as well as Director of Religious Education Cleo Anderson, Director of Music Sandra Choi, Ryan Humphrey on the piano, and a special thanks to Pam Teplitz in production and an ever-growing cast of wonderful, talented members and friends that make our worship at a distance possible. Unitarian Universalism is not defined by creed or dogma, but guided by principles that affirm the worth and dignity of every person and encourage an individual search for truth and meaning. We honor the wonder and mystery of our lives and affirm that we are all connected to one another and to the interdependent web of life. Our tradition arises from scripture and science, nature and philosophy, personal experience, and ancient traditions. We are a welcoming community, inclusive of people of all gender identities, sexual orientations, races, ethnicities, and social locations. We invite you to join us in creating this beloved community we share with each other and the larger world. Move with us beyond the boundaries of distance and place and into our gathered religious community this morning. A few brief announcements today. Our thoughts are with Robert Schellenkamp following the death of his sister, Corrie. She died in the Netherlands from COVID-19. Following on the success of streaming Sunday worship, our annual meeting will likewise be presented on Facebook Live on Sunday, June 28th, 2020 at noon. We hope to see you all there. We will be voting by paper ballot and online over the next 2 weeks. The congregation will elect a new board of directors and members to serve on the nominating committee and vote on a budget for the 2020-21 church year. Complete information on how to vote will arrive in members' mailboxes via U.S. Postal Service and is available on the UUSM newsletter site. Also, keep your eyes on the newsletter, e-blasts, announcements, and upcoming events, as well as the website for updates on programs. Let us join together in the singing or just quietly receive our opening hymn, Beautiful and How Could Anyone?
Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down, oh no. You are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can bring you down, oh no. So don't you bring me down today. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. 'Cause we are beautiful no matter what they say. Yes, words won't bring us down, oh no. We are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring us down, oh no. So don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, thus do we covenant with each other.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung through every land by every tongue.
Good morning. So this morning we're going to learn about a holiday called Juneteenth, and it happens every year on June 19th. So the story of this holiday begins a long, long time ago, in 1863. Now, in the 1860s, the United States actually consisted of two portions. There was the Union, made up of northern states, and the Confederacy, made of southern states. Now, the Confederacy, they were slave-holding states, as in they held people and made them work for free. The North was not super fond of that idea, and so they went to war to determine if the United States of America would be a slave-holding country or not. Now, in the end, the Union won, and all of the slaves were freed, and a document was signed called the Emancipation Proclamation, and it was signed in 1863. But here's the thing. America back then was very big, very spread out, but not well connected. So, despite the Emancipation Proclamation being signed in 1863, it took a while for some states to get that information. And one of those states was Texas. Now, Texas, as you may very well know, is a massive state. It's also the furthest Confederate state east. And there weren't a lot of battles in that state, so there weren't a lot of Union soldiers to communicate and enforce the Emancipation Proclamation. So it wasn't until 1865, 2 whole years later, that General Granger would arrive, and things would change. Now, when General Granger arrived, he announced the Emancipation Proclamation, and it said, "The people of Texas are here informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them shall become that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts or be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere." That's a lot of words to say. You're free. They can't make you work for no money. The best idea is to probably stay where you are and just have them pay you to do the same work. And if you show up at a military base or you just start hanging out places, there will be consequences. We won't tell you what the consequences are, but there will be consequences. Now, when the slaves heard this, they were thrilled. Now, yes, they would still be in the same cabins that they'd lived in, and they'd be doing the same sun-up, sun-down work, and it would still be Texas in June, which means it would be extremely hot, and they were free, but things weren't necessarily looking all the way up. But they decided to celebrate this little sliver of change in their lives. And so people cooked, and they brought out the soul food. So one family brought fried chicken, another brought collard greens, somebody else fried chitlins, cornbread was made. In later years, red soda water, if you have grandparents ask them about red soda water, would become the drink of choice. And every June in Texas, the height of summer heat, working the same jobs that their families have been working for centuries, not making a lot of money, they celebrated. They celebrated that they were equal to anybody else. They had rights, freedom of movement, and they kept going year after year, a different state and a different state. And then states started legally recognizing it as a holiday outside of Texas. And now, in 2020, there are only 3 states that don't legally recognize it. North and South Dakota. Why, I'm not sure. And Hawaii, because they were never a slave-holding state, and no one's actually ever suggested it. But the moral of this story is, even under the hottest sun, most back-breaking work conditions, find that tiny piece of joy and celebrate it. And that is our story for today.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to bridges between our divisions, I reach out to voices, I reach out to visions, with all of our voices, with all of our visions.
voices and all our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmonies. I reach out to visions between childhood visions. I reach out to visions with reach out to visions. Friends, our voices and all our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Our reading this morning is from COVID-19 resources on mental health. This one is the importance of adult play. In our hectic modern lives, many of us focus so heavily on work and family commitments that we never seem to have time for pure fun. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood stopped playing. When we carve out some leisure time, we're more likely to zone out in front of the TV or computer than engage in fun, rejuvenating play like we did as children. But play is not essential just for kids. It can be an important source of relaxation and stimulation for adults. Playing with your partner, friends, co-workers, pets, and children is a sure and fun way to fuel your imagination, creativity, problem-solving abilities, and emotional well-being. Adult play is a time to forget about work and commitments and to be social in an unstructured, creative way. Play could be simply goofing off with friends, sharing jokes with a coworker, throwing a frisbee on the beach, dressing up on Halloween with your kids, or just playing dress up with your kids. Building a snowman in the yard, well, not in Southern California. Playing fetch with a dog, acting out charades at a party, or going for a bike ride with someone with no destination in mind. There doesn't need to be any point in the activity beyond having fun and enjoying yourself. By giving yourself permission to play with the joyful abandon of childhood, you can reap oodles of health benefits throughout life. It actually says oodles. While play is crucial for a child's development, it is also beneficial for people of all ages. Play can add joy to life, relieve stress, supercharge learning, and connect you to others and the world around you. Play can also make work more productive and pleasurable. You can play on your own or with a pet, but for greater benefits, play should involve at least one other person, a playmate. This is the time when we come together as community to share our joys and concerns with one another. You can let us know by calling the church office if there's something that you would like us to pray for or hold you in the light for. You can also let us know if there's some needs that you have. We know that there are people in your family. We know that there are people in our community. There are people in your lives, friends and family, who we want to hold up, that we want to lift up with our love. We're going to take a moment now to sit in silence and to hold in mindfulness those people who have been protesting, those people who have given their lives or been murdered, those people who celebrate with pride the joys and concerns and the small battles and large battles that we have won. We want to hold in community. We want to hold in our hearts. We want to hold in mindfulness the people who have come before us, the people who stand beside us, the people who will come after us, the people for whom we work and fight, and also for yourself. So let us be mindful of all who work and love and protest and live and appreciate the times that we hold them in our hearts and in our minds. This spring has been a time of high anxiety and crisis management. We have experienced the fight, flight, freeze response to the unknown and unwelcome, and now we're moving into a different mode of interaction because summer is coming. Most of us are still cloistered. We all need a break, but I don't think any of us is going on vacation. So how are you taking care of your spirit? Even if it means just taking small moments to breathe, we need to find ways to laugh and to play as we work to change the world. It's June already. I don't think any of us are where we thought we would be at this point. Already we've canceled vacations and cruises and trips to see our families and trips to take care of business, and most of us are still sheltered in. Almost all of us are wearing masks, and none of us really knows what's going to happen this summer. The theme for this month is play. However, most of us are not really interested in playing, or we're tired of the games that we have been playing because all we really want to do is get out of the house, go take a walk along your usual route, go climb a mountain, sit at the beach, do something that looks like play while we breathe without fear that something in the air might kill us. And yet there's so much going on in the world. We are at the cusp of a new civil rights movement. We are in the middle of a pandemic and on the edge of an endemic. We are in the middle of social action that most people in the United States have never experienced before. But if we put it in perspective, we can see that social upheaval is just how we roll. Think about all that has happened in the past 100 years in this country. At the beginning of the last century, go back to 1913, women were marching for the right to vote. And then after that, we went through the big economic crash and the Great Depression. And then there was the New Deal and the wars, World War I, World War II, the Korean War. Then we baby boomers learned how to duck and cover because we're in the midst of the Cold War. After that, we went through the Vietnam War and the war in the Middle East. And on the home front, we had the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, the gay rights movement, the AIDS epidemic, 9/11, and we survived them all. At least most of us did. And each time we saw the world change, we thought we had won. Each time we went through what we thought was the worst thing that could possibly have happened, each thing that we went through, we thought this was the thing that was really going to change the world. Each thing we went through, we thought this was the thing that would enable us to live in a world that was so much better, that we would end racism, that we would end sexism, that we would end oppressions of all kinds. And yet, here we are today. We didn't celebrate Pride Sunday, not because we don't think fighting for the rights of gay men and lesbians and transgenders and folks all along the gender identity continuum is not important. We didn't celebrate because there was another battle that was more immediate, another battle that called us to stand up and to stand with as allies and advocates and activists. So this Sunday, we pause. We pause to remember that we're always going to be fighting for something. This Sunday, we remember that as UUs, we learn early how to be allies and advocates, how to listen to those who've been rendered voiceless and invisible. As UUs, we must stand up and stand by and stand for the things that are so important to us, the things that reflect our UU values. And yet, we need to rest. We need to rest, we need exercise, we need nutrition, and we need these three things for our minds and our bodies, and we need exercise and nutrition and rest for our spirits. We have to find ways to nurture the essence of who we are. We each need a well from which we can draw the waters of rejuvenation. We must find a process that calms us down, that allows us to move in sync with the rhythms of the universe. We have to find a way to recognize Sabbath moments. We may not be able to take a whole Sabbath rest, can't take a sabbatical, can't even take a day off. Ask your minister, he hasn't rested in 2 months. We may not be able to take a vacation. And taking a staycation probably doesn't have the same appeal as it might have had last year, even if it did then. And yet, we need rest. So what is the thing that allows us to have rest and exercise and nutrition for our spirits? What is it that gets us moving when we don't have to? What feeds us? What is it that lifts our spirit, that causes us to think and to move and to engage in new ways? I think it's play. One of the characteristics of our species is that we know how to laugh and we know how to play. We know how to look at the light side, even if it is with dark humor. We know how to laugh at ourselves, to make fun of the darkest moments, to find something in the midst of our sorrows and on the edges of our anger to smile about. We find ways to laugh at others, to laugh at ourselves. We laugh at our situation. Every day I get emails filled with jokes and stories and pictures, dark humor, gallows humor, anything that will lighten the mood. when the choice is either laugh or cry with disasters and uncontrollable circumstances. Sometimes we cry and then we laugh. Sometimes we laugh until we cry. Making fun of the situations, making fun of others, making fun of ourselves. We need to take the time to play because play feeds the spirit. At the heart of our need for nutrition and exercise and rest for the mind and the body and the spirit is play. We all need to play. We all need some respite. And today we need to learn new ways to play. We play games with kids. We play games with other adults. We download games and puzzles from the app stores. You could walk the labyrinth at the United Methodist Church in Santa Monica. You could organize a sheltered-in Olympics, starting with sock sliding on a hardwood floor. You can make bubble-blowing magic with a formula of joy and corn syrup and distilled water. Big, huge bubbles. You can have a comedy night telling dad jokes, reflecting the humor of 6-year-olds. You can find new ways to play. If not for the next few weeks, you can find ways to play in the moment. Find ways to tickle your own funny bone. Find ways to see laughter in the ridiculousness of the ordinary, in the ridiculousness of the extraordinary. Sabbath is time that is set aside for the sacred and for the holy, for the special, for the out of the ordinary. And in some spiritual traditions, we designate a Sabbath a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. One day, a day of rest, a day of worship. Now, you may not have time for taking a whole day to rest because we have revolutions to wage. So I'm suggesting that you take a Sabbath moment, that throughout your day you stop and breathe and marvel at the wonder of your breath, that you stop and pause as you listen to a baby's laughter, that you stop and notice how completely still your dog or your cat is able to lie in the sun. Appreciate the moment that you stop and stand at the kitchen door and take in the wonderful aroma of the bread that's baking, or the dish you finally began to cook, the dish that you've been wanting to try for a long time and now it's simmering on the stove. Or turn and look at your partner, or at your children, or at your grandchildren and smile because you never thought you would have this much time to spend with them. Or you never thought that they would find ways to say, I love you in such extraordinary ways. Now you can take the time to find a piece of stationery and a stamp and write a real letter. Or at least a note to someone that says, I'm thinking about you. You can take the time to give someone a call and say, how are you doing? You can take the time to be grateful. You can take the time to wonder and appreciate the gift that staying home has been for so many people. And then take the time to see, what is it that you can do to help those who have not found this time to be a gift because they've lost their jobs, they can't pay their bills, they're living with a predator? Take the time to remember and to be an ally to those who are still marching, who are still protesting, who are still negotiating for their space on this planet. Look behind you. Look around you, look beside you to see what else there can be done and to notice all that has been done. What I would like for you all to do today, at least for a moment, is to sit and savor one more cup of coffee, to spend some time letting the sun warm your face, to lay down and take a nap, to find something to laugh at, to find someone to play with, to enjoy a Sabbath moment. Take a moment to play, and then rested and renewed, get back to the work of changing the world. May it be so.
We come together for more than ourselves. Today, we share 50% of the offering with the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, America's premier legal organization fighting for racial justice. Through litigation, advocacy, and public education, it seeks structural changes to expand democracy, eliminate disparities, and achieve racial justice in a society that fulfills the promise of equality for all Americans. LDF also defends the gains and protections won over the past 75 years of civil rights struggle and works to improve the quality and diversity of judicial and executive appointments. Please give generously to help advance LDF's efforts to protect voting rights, reform our criminal justice system, achieve educational equity, and ensure economic justice for all. You can now text your donation from your smartphone. Text 844-982-0209 with the amount you'd like to donate and GCC in the body of your text. For example, 20 GCC. The first time you give, you'll be asked to register. The number again is 844-982-0209. Also, if you've not yet provided a pledge of support for our church, you can provide a pledge via text as well. For example, 200 PLG. Please support our church community during this time of exceptional stress, loss, and financial uncertainty. Thank you for your generous support.
Your pain, your fear, but we're here to say who you are is okay, and you don't have to go through this on your own. You're not. You have more friends than you know. Some who surround you, some you are destined to meet. You have more love in your life. Don't let go, give it time. Take it slow. Those who love you the most may need more time to grow. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. You have more friends than you know. Be brave, be strong. You are loved, you belong. Someday soon, you will see you're exactly who you're supposed to be. And you don't have have to go through this on your own. You're not alone. You have more friends than you know. Some who surround you, some you are destined to meet. You have more love in your life. Don't let go, give it time. Take it slow. Those who love you the most may need more time to grow. It's gonna be okay. You have more friends than you know.
Be who you are. Learn to forgive. It's not about who you love, but how you live. You have more friends than you know. Some who surround you, some you are destined to meet. You have more love in your life. Don't let go, give it time. Take it slow. Those who love you the most may need more time to grow.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You have more friends than you know. More friends than you know. Say, your playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies three. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore. Say, oh playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies three. Climb up my apple tree, slide down my rainbow into my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends. Jolly friends forevermore.
Go now. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere you go. Enjoy your Sabbath moments. Find a way to play.